We have talked a lot over the years here about Saturday Night Live. Mike Schur and Adam McKay were both writers in their early 20s at Saturday Night Live. It has been a comedic institution that has birthed a lot of comedians, and the whole landscape has changed. And Joe Rogan is birthing entire economies that are really, really lucrative for an assortment of his friends in a audio and video space that is really changing the business. Shane Gillis is the best of these comedians that Rogan has birthed. He might not yet be the most successful because Tom Segura is looking down on his fans and Bert Kreischer is selling out giant places, but he is somebody who has gotten the attention of the internet, and everything he does, 1 million people view it. He is the hottest comedian since Bo Burnham, who sort of dominated the landscape during the pandemic. Shane Gillis, everyone's taking notice of what this guy is doing. And now he's hosting Saturday Night Live later this month after his career blossomed because he was let go from Saturday Night Live before ever doing anything. He was hired as a cast member and then was quote unquote canceled, and that's not a real thing. The comedians who are quote unquote canceled are having thriving branding businesses off of being canceled. And so now the show that fired him for some slurs that were in his podcast past is bringing him back as host and needs him more than he needs them, which is stunning to watch. And he's an interesting comedian because this is the line that he walks on. Not unlike Chappelle walked on the line where, hey, I'm not making fun of black people. I'm making fun of the way that white people view black people. Bud Light has signed up Shane Gillis thinking he's a counter to Dylan Mulvaney. Bud Light's brand has been damaged by just having an Instagram influencer who is trans around their product. It wasn't even commercials. And now Bud Light is getting Shane Gillis, and conservatives are celebrating that they got Shane Gillis without realizing that Shane Gillis is often making fun of conservatives. He's not one of you. And he's walking a space that no other comedian I see is walking.
I have a particular investment in the arc of Shane Gillis because what he got punished for by SNL, which is to say the reason they didn't hire him was because a part of his podcast from many moons ago, he was doing like truly extreme caricatures of Asian people. And that was the thing. And when I saw it at first, absent any of the surrounding information about who this guy was or what else he was doing or what is this even, it was like, oh, this is textbook horrifying. This is textbook lazy. This is something that you would not get away with except for a parody of an Asian person. And so I was very out on Shane Gillis as a guy who I ever wanted to see again. Personally, Shane Gillis is so funny that I have had to admit that he's actually just super talented.
He won you back over.
Because he's actually good at comedy.
Funny, man.
And so part of me, part of the racial politics of this, of course, is do we all have to be union reps when it comes to oh, this person has insulted my people? And then you have to do the also more, I think, profound investigation into what was he really trying to do, which gets into the realm of another topic that's fascinating, which is to say impressions. Who can do an impression? And how do we discern motive behind the impression? So for me, over time, I realized, okay, Shane Gillis actually isn't what that one clip portrayed him to be. Mm-hmm. And he's also super fucking funny.
Oh, but also that was when he was amateur and the character has learned and now developed. Andrew Dice Clay 1 million years ago says he was playing a character and it was misogynistic and homophobic and it was a terrible character. But he always said, but this is a character. This is the evolution of that is smarter because he's still doing stuff that's objectionable, okay? He uses gay in a way that feels pejorative, but he's very much in character with what it is that he's doing. He is the everyman trying to appeal to the everyman while also, what are you laughing about?
He called the movie Hidden Figures Medea Goes to the Moon.
God damn.
I laughed so goddamn hard. Well, he said his father calls that.
So you're laughing at the private show that's happening in your head here. That you're doing your own show in front of a microphone, thinking things before saying them, and laughing to yourself.
I found that helpful, Amin.
When he said he's made these jokes that are objectionable, that's the first thing that popped in my head, and so I laughed. Because
He's walking the line, though. To me, one of the more fascinating things happening here with the business of comedy is the podcast business largely sucks. It really does. But at the top end of it, these comedians are eating like these.
Well, yes, the alleged cancellation of Shane Gillis, which resulted, by the way, down the line, the domino effect in the cancellation of Bud Light, and now the uncancellation using Shane Gillis. No question, it was good for him.
And Rogan.
But it was good for him, right? So like, there are a couple of. This is one of those stories where many things are true at the same time. It really is.
Cancellation only exists if you operate in the mainstream. If I want a job on SNL, the super highway to success for comedians, then yes, I can be canceled.
But this is a new lane. I mean, they're popular. They're popular at least in part. The reason they're making so much money is at least in part. It's not a small part. So many people are saying, "Oh, wait, I'm listening to something that's actually free. That these guys don't have consequences. This is a dirtier talk than I'm going to get anywhere in the mainstream. That's sort of contaminated by all that wokeness that both sides complain about."
So decades ago, Lenny Bruce got arrested for having
George Carlin too.
Immoral, the morality.
The words you can't say.
Yeah, the words you can't say. And even the content. Lenny Bruce would do stuff that wasn't necessarily using F-bombs or whatever, but it was like, this is explicit content. Cops would grab him and take him off stage and arrest him. And you know what that did for Lenny Bruce? Anytime Lenny Bruce is playing somewhere, people were like, "Ah, shit, I got to see this."
They are now making more, Pablo.
It's like the weirdest comp I can make. Remember when The Passion of the Christ came out and everybody was like, "This is an awful da-da-da-da." And that movie did numbers because of the uproar.
They shouldn't be complaining about cancel culture. They should be celebrating it. It is profitable. For the best of them, it's a gold mine.
But it reminds me of the ways in which all of us, and I was thinking about this with the Grammys, all of us still want the mainstream recognition. Shane Gillis is hosting SNL. I'm sure on some level to his fans, it's like, he's going to stick it to him like Norm Macdonald did after he got fired from SNL. They got invited to host. Part of me also thinks this is actually a valuable thing personally to that guy in the way that you want to win the award. You want to be canceled to make the money, but you also want to be approved of by the people who still, in your mind, matter.